Viewer discretion advised.
Are those strange clothes and strange music a part of a phase or something more dangerous?
This suicide case,
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
We think this is a very important report that every parent should see.
Well, what is it like to be famous? No, but I mean, like, you go...
I looked in the mirror and I was like, you're still uncool.
did it affect you? I'm just talking about you don't want.
I don't know.
Please welcome My Chemical Romance.
I felt like that was the end.
Gerard Way?
Yes.
Lead singer of My Chemical Romance?
Yes. Yeah, we're related.
That's what he said. I was like, I'm going to do Joe Rogan. He goes, I don't have 100% confirmation on this, but I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan is my cousin.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
cousins.
my Aunt Josie was his grandmother.
Yeah, I don't know him, but we're cousins.
How crazy that two people in the same family became super fucking famous and don't even...
Yeah, we don't know each other.
That's not... You gotta have money. He's fascinating.
Gerard Arthur Way was born on April 9th, 1977 in Summit, New Jersey, and grew up in the nearby town of Belleville. As a kid, Gerard stood out, not because he was loud or rebellious, but because he was deeply sensitive.
I'm just empathetic. I've always been very highly, overly empathetic.
That sensitive kid wasn't just emotional, he was creatively weird. The kind of kid raised on comic books, horror movies, and loud rock music.
I listen to a lot of Iron Maiden.
Okay, yeah.
But Gerard didn't want to simply be a spectator. He wanted to express himself and be creative. By fourth grade, while other kids were trying to disappear in class, he was already stepping in front of a crowd, playing Peter Pan in a school musical, singing like he owned the place.
Of course, it's a great idea to play fucking Peter Pan your first year, right?
Gerard didn't explore his artsy side by accident. His maternal grandmother, Elena Lee Rush, was his muse, his mentor, and the first adult who actually took his creativity seriously. She taught him how to sing, how to paint, how to perform, and most importantly, she taught him that expressing yourself creatively mattered. And then in high school, he stood out from the athletes and overachievers as the artsy misfit, and he had to make peace with feeling out of place.
You know that you're not cool, and that I think it's becoming comfortable with that. That's great. I almost hate everything that's cool. I never want to be cool.
By his teens, Gerard's love for comics had only intensified, so he did what made sense. He got a part-time job at a comic shop, a job that almost cost him his life when someone entered the place with a gun to rob it.
So wait, you're there and suddenly somebody comes in and
Yeah,
they're like...
two dudes come in, hoods up, and they have a giant gun. And the cops said, too, they always say, oh, it looks bigger when it's pointed at you. But this gun was huge.
Who the fuck robs a comic book store?
At the time, a lot of people thought, like, gold editions and stuff were worth it.
So they're sitting there going like, they might have that Detective 27 in there.
He was forced to lie face down on the ground, execution style.
How old are you?
I think I'm 15.
For most teenagers, that kind of moment would trigger recurring nightmares and a life spent looking over your shoulder. Gerard reacted differently. To him, this was an eye-opening moment. If life could be that cruel and random, then maybe the only sane response was to stare straight at it and laugh.
And out they went.
Out. This second after, we don't move for like...
Because you're worried that he's going to come back and be like, ah!
And then we all start laughing. It was the craziest thing. We just started laughing.
That small but stubborn sense of hope became central to who he was. He never ignored darkness. He leaned into it, but he always left room for something better to exist alongside it.
I was a pretty angry 15-year-old. I think that was my biggest fear at 15, is that I was going to be some sort of like failure or stuck, being invisible, and not making an impact.
How do you think these people feel after their child or someone was killed, and then you're selling these things and making money off of them?
My company, First Amendment Publishing, produces any set of trading cards or comic books that are aimed at a particular political or social purpose.
At 16, he appeared on a daytime talk show to debate the moral panic over violent comics.
I'm just saying no to children.
Why don't you go after the media? Why don't you go after the other things? Why just comics? Comics aren't just for adults. Comics are for everybody.
While other kids were stressing about prom, Gerard was on national TV, defending art's right to be disturbing. Back home, he was also working on his own comics, a solitary pursuit that helped him build a creative identity of his own.
I think writing in general, like, is just this, like, you start to kind of understand why people have such a hard time with it when you really sit down to seriously do it all the time. And, you know, it's a solitary thing. It's kind of alienating. Like, I mean, look at me.
After graduating high school, Gerard committed fully to his creative ambitions. He enrolled at the School of Visual Arts in New York City, where he studied cartooning and illustration. And by 1999, he graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts, ready to make his mark in comics. At the time, music was there too, but it stayed private.
The kind of music I was into, not a lot of people were into in the States.
By 2001, Gerard was pitching ideas to Cartoon Network, but things were going nowhere. He was 24 and felt completely insignificant, waiting for a break that never seemed to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difficult moment for America.
Then September 11th changed everything. Gerard was on a train and watched from across the Hudson River as the tragedy unfolded.
I didn't see any of the planes hit. I saw the buildings go down, though. From, I'd say, fairly close. I mean, the train that runs from Hoboken runs to the World Trade Center. So it was, I mean, I'd say so across the river.
That moment changed how he thought about time and purpose. From then on, every decision felt urgent.
A big thing that went through my head was, you know, everything's kind of pointless that you're doing right now. I was involved in commercial art in New York, trying to pitch a show to Cartoon Network that was extremely frustrating because I was dealing with a company that had optioned the cartoon show that didn't quite get it. I need to do something that actually means something, or my life's going to mean nothing. Just like this cartoon means nothing. Like, it's all going to mean nothing if I don't do something.
We described to you the possibility of that North Tower.
That day changed how Gerard saw his role as an artist. And he decided to experiment with music as a way to connect with people and leave something positive behind.
I had been an artist for a while, and, you know, then there was these tragic events that happened to everybody, and made me realize that I wanted to do something with substance. So I turned to music because it was this kind of secret passion I had, and I said, let me just try it. I may get hit by a bus tomorrow, so let me see what it's like. I don't want to spend my whole life regretting not ever starting a band.
Within weeks, Gerard turned everything he was feeling into a song. He wrote Skylines and Turnstiles, inspired directly by what he witnessed across the Hudson River.
The first song was Skylines and Turnstiles. I believe I had this blue guitar that I bought because Billy Joe had like a greatest blue guitar, and I had it from when I was 15 or 16, so I used that guitar to write it. It was a very direct song about what happened during 9/11 and how I felt about it, and it was what started the band.
That song became the starting point for a band that didn't yet exist. There was no official project, no members, no roadmap, but Gerard felt something shift.
But I had a very strong feeling about it, and I just believed in it. I knew it was going to work.
By late 2001, Gerard was back to New Jersey and laser-focused. His new mission was to assemble a band quickly. The first person he brought in was his younger brother Mikey, who played bass.
I wanted to get into music probably since the age of 6 or 7. I didn't quite know why. Just really, really wanted to be in a band. I kind of went to college as a means to meet someone to start a band, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, yeah, this is how you go out and meet people that, you have similar interests with. I didn't really have any, interest in what I was doing in school. I'm not saying school's bad. Stay in school.
Next was Ray Toro, a local punk scene friend with serious guitar skills and a shared passion for comics. And drummer Matt Pellissier completed the lineup.
We were basically kind of a full band at that point, more or less. I actually knew right away. You can feel it in your stomach. I don't know if other bands that have made it feel it when they have that practice, when they write those first songs. But I had a very strong feeling about it, and I just believed in it. I knew it was going to work.
The name they chose, My Chemical Romance, was inspired by a line in a book by Irvine Welsh.
I used to work at a Barnes & Noble. One day somebody left a stack of Irvine Welsh books. And as I was picking them up, that phrase caught me on the back. It was talking about how his stuff was coined as chemical romances. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised nobody's used that as a band name yet.
It just fit so well on so many different levels. The band name meant so many different things, having to do with antidepressants or alcoholism. It had a lot to do with the overall picture of what we were, saying.
Eventually, guitarist Frank Iero also joined the band, taking their sound to a new level.
Right before we made our first record, we got Frank because his band had dissolved, and that was the unit, and we stayed that way as that.
They practiced in garages and attics and quickly started to book any show they could find to grow an audience.
That's kind of how we always built what we do, is just by playing great live shows. That's always been first and foremost too. It's just like the whole point of the band was just to play live.
Our first road trip as a band involved us going up to Vermont to play a show for our friend Sean Francis, who used to be a pumpkin head with Mikey, which are these people that follow around smashing pumpkins. Anyway, we went up there and played this school. He booked this show ad for us, and he filled it to capacity with people. He did such a good job. It was the best show we had up to that point. It was amazing, and the floor was so slick. We almost broke our legs. The sweat started to...
Covered in human sweat.
Humidity started to coat the floor. Anyway, that was our first road trip, and we loved it. It was like our first taste of being out there on the road, and we never wanted to leave it.
In just 3 months, the band pulled together enough songs for a debut album. Released in 2002, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love came out on Eyeball Records, a small independent label. The album was rough and aggressive, mixing punk rock with gothic drama and screamo intensity.
This album was categorized in a broad range of genres when it first came out, from emo to punk rock to post-hardcore to even heavy metal. It was hard to really encapsulate the frenzied rawness of their sound, especially under the alternative rock umbrella that it was originally sold under. If you tried to play...
I think I was inspired more by movies than any musicians. There's a movie called Phantom of the Paradise by Brian De Palma, which is this rock opera from the 70s, just like Rocky Horror Picture Show and rock operas and things like that, because I like the element of theater involved in them, and I like the storytelling and the lyrics. That's what I like about Nick Cave or Tom Waits, is they're big storytellers.
Even though at the time this wasn't radio-friendly music, the album still spread underground through live shows, word of mouth, and early internet communities.
What we're bringing to the world is our interpretation of what rock is.
bullets made an impact. Gerard's lyrics, filled with violent imagery and emotional intensity, resonated with a small but deeply committed audience, and their live shows only amplified that connection.
Because if you listen to the first record, all that's really there is the basic elements. It's a band still trying to figure out who it is. And then when we toured, we figured out who we were.
And you have to fake it till you make it, and then you just you grind.
Dude, it's fake it till you make it, and you work your ass off until you get to what you're saying you can do.
Always grind it out, man. grind.
By 2003, the industry could smell blood in the water. Major labels started circling these black-clad Jersey misfits, and eventually, the band signed with Reprise Records. Finally, the grind was paying off and My Chemical Romance was in the big leagues. However, Gerard still felt out of place.
Well, I had a moment in Australia where on Big Day Out tour. It was a really tough tour for us. We only had really befriended a few people, like the Killers and Muse. And then the rest of the vibe on the tour kind of just felt like we were the kids in the back of the class wearing black that nobody wanted to hang out with. And we didn't have pointy shoes. We weren't cool enough to hang out. And it was before the biggest show on the tour. I was washing my face in the sink. I looked in the mirror and I was like, "You're still uncool." And I was really happy with that revelation. And you're never going to be cool, so stop trying. And had one of the best shows of my life that day.
In 2004, they released 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge.
3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge is the new album by my next guest, who in February will be appearing nationwide on the Taste of Chaos tour. Please welcome My Chemical Romance.
Fast, emotional, and of course theatrical, it instantly became a classic.
The concept for the record, 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, was the story of a man and a woman who are separated by death in a gunfight. And he goes to hell only to realize by the devil telling him that she's still alive. The devil says, "You could be with her again if you bring me the souls of 1,000 evil men." And so he hands him a gun and he says, "I'll go do it." That was the idea behind the concept. The record ended up being much more about loss in real life than anything. So I would say it's a good split.
The lead single, I'm Not Okay, I Promise, crashed into MTV rotation with Gerard's fist-pumping chorus, turning teen angst into a rallying cry. The video, with its high school revenge storyline, made them heroes for every kid getting bullied in the hallway. Then came Elena, a goth glam funeral march dedicated to Gerard's late grandmother, who had just passed away.
I never really felt death super close either until my grandma had passed away. But in the end, I think I started to see some kind of beauty or release in death. And I think that made it even more so to become death obsessed.
The track was an instant hit.
And I think I remember recording Helena in LA, and the engineer's name was Mike Plotnikoff. And I played my part for the choruses of Helena, and I remember him like hitting the end when I finished the taking. He was like, "Whew, that's a great chorus," and being like, "Really?" I wrote that. That's awesome. All right.
The album was a commercial success, going platinum within a year, and turning the band into the unlikeliest of rising rock stars.
I listened to your record 3 times just today.
Wow.
I love it. I love this record so much. 3 Cheers for
Well, what is it like to be famous? Did you ever think you would be? No, but I mean, like, you're going to Belleville High School. I mean, you're just a kid.
I don't really feel famous, I don't think I ever have. I think we've always just stayed really grounded, and we kind of like artistically, we always really do what we want to do and don't show up to the circus per se. So there's been a lot of attention maybe not on us because of that.
With success came a problem they didn't see coming. As My Chemical Romance rose, they were branded as the face of emo, a label that followed them everywhere, despite the fact that Gerard hated it. He felt it reduced the band to a trend and stripped the music of its meaning. What was personal and sincere suddenly felt packaged and misunderstood
But I don't really feel that we're a part of the emo culture, and I never have. And to further go with that, I think My Chemical Romance is just a rock band. We were the furthest thing from emo when we started.
They weren't singing about breakups and self-pity like other emo bands. They were crafting comic book revenge fantasies and grandiose death parables. Still, the emo tag stuck.
We were so not a part of it that it definitely hurt us for quite a while. So then to be lumped in with something that affected your band it's weird to kind of have that. It's almost like keeps haunting you, and you're just like, well, it was never actually a help. It was just like a burden. I think, to me, it's a dead scene. It's been a dead scene for a while, because it's not like grunge or anything. Grunge affected the world. I haven't seen emo affect anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, My Chemical Romance.
By 2006, Gerard was ready to obliterate all preconceptions with an ambitious leap forward. Enter the Black Parade.
The thing about My Chemical Romance is that every time they make a record, they jump very far ahead. It's not simply just the next record, but I feel that it's 3 jumps ahead sometimes. So, of course, with this record, it's no different, and it's almost as if we got in a time machine and made the 6th or 7th record.
If 3 Cheers made them famous, the Black Parade cemented My Chemical Romance as rock icons. This was a full-blown rock opera concept album, a macabre Broadway musical pressed onto a disc.
Epic, theatrical, orchestral, big record that, is also a concept album that has a very set story in it, but also as you listen to this record, the layers of that story peel away, and what you're left with at the end is a story about mortality and our own mortality.
The concept of the album revolves around a dying cancer patient journey through death, as if it's a dark carnival parade.
I'd like to think that when you die, death comes for you however you want. And I feel that it's your strongest memory, either from childhood or adulthood. And for this particular character in this record called The Patient, his strongest memory is of being a child and his father is taking them to this parade. So when death comes for him, it comes in the form of a black parade.
The band sounded enormous. Bohemian Rhapsody-sized choruses, guitar solos that soared, drums that pounded like funeral marches. We should also note that with the release of this album, they officialized having a new drummer now, Bob Breyer. The lead single, Welcome to the Black Parade, shot to #1 on the UK singles chart and even cracked the US top 10, instantly becoming the anthem of a generation of eyeliner-wearing youth. The album itself was a major commercial success, quickly going platinum. Rolling Stone named it one of the top 50 albums of the year, and Kerrang proclaimed it the 4th greatest album of 2006.
I want people to want to live after they hear this record. That's the main thing. I really want people to want to live. I want them to express themselves however they want, to not be ashamed of what they are, to not be afraid of what they are, to really face their fears. I think this record's really about facing fears. I want them to have fun with it too. It's a really fun record. I want them to just have a lot of fun. So that's
On stage, the band took the alter ego of a ghostly marching band. Gerard bleached his hair white and donned a regal black and white bandmaster uniform, looking like Sergeant Pepper leading a funeral procession.
And to me, I wanted this short white hair so I would look like this character, the patient, who I pictured as somebody that had gone through very hard illness, had maybe gone through chemotherapy, and that's really what it looked like when I first did it. Like, I looked like a sick patient, and it helped me channel that energy into the vocal performances. And so it was something that worked on a lot of levels, and, you know, everybody's cosmetically different this time.
The world tour was pure spectacle. It was Queen meets Nightmare Before Christmas, and it was glorious.
But your shows are pretty insane, right?
The shows are, yeah. I mean, we're
pyro, and there's all kinds of cool, and
I love like what we do live. I think we're a great live band.
I think we've gained such a sense of identity that we are so comfortable on stage. I can feel it from every member of the band now when we're playing. We really kind of know who we are now. I think we know what we want out of the live show. I think we know what we want out of the record, what we want it to do. I think we know what we want out of the people that come see us. So.
Yet, at the height of their fame, controversy stalked them. In the UK, a teenage girl named Hannah Bond took her own life, and the press quickly linked her death to her love for the band.
Are those strange clothes and strange music a part of a phase or something more dangerous? There is a new trend in music that has bands advocating depression and suicide. And tonight, your News Channel 3's Bob Matthews investigates whether this...
The accusation ignored the band's actual message, which had always centered on hope and resilience.
And your life is a witness to other kids that are out there where, like you're saying, your whole mission statement is to keep people alive. Let them know, hang on. Think about jumping, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
The most you could ever say is wait till tomorrow, really.
Yeah.
You know, and just hope it gets better.
Still, the band found itself in the middle of a moral panic, loved intensely by fans, criticized just as fiercely by detractors. In 2008, the British tabloid Daily Mail ran an article describing the band's fan base as a cult of self-harm.
We think this is a very important report that every parent should see. ABC4's Reed Cowan, now with us, has a special report for parents about the so-called emo culture. Reed, what is emo?
Well, Barb,
At that moment, Gerard nearly quit. He felt misunderstood, and the band was misjudged.
This suicide case,
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. It's a really hard subject.
Yeah.
You know.
Did it affect the album or in any way?
Well,
Just talking about it. You don't want to talk about it.
We shouldn't, out of respect for everybody, you know.
Yes, I can understand it.
For a moment, quitting felt like the natural thing to do.
Felt like that was the end. And basically, the time spent after Black Parade was me fighting against that instinct and fighting against myself. So the end of Black Parade felt like a very natural ending.
After the success of the Black Parade and the exhaustion of controversy, My Chemical Romance chose to change direction, and in 2010 they released Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. The tracks blended power pop, electronic rock, and proto-punk influences, signaling a deliberate break from the sound and image that had defined them before. It felt like stepping out of a Tim Burton film into a neon-soaked comic book.
But what I like is there's more electronic than it, which is very fun. But they kind of have the same energy. If at times it feels some of the older stuff has even more. Maybe because it's so much faster, some of it. But it fits right in with all the older material.
Tracks like Sing carried anthemic positivity, urging listeners to keep going in hard times, an ethos true to Gerard's core. As you can imagine, some fans embraced the new sound while others hated it and missed the darkness from their previous work.
Well, I guess they were expecting a really angry album, but we made a really, we made kind of a
Positive album.
Yeah, positive album. That's Rob. Very early, Rob Koala started referring to it as an assault party, and that's the way I like to think of it, as an assault party too. But it's definitely positive. Well, it's not dealing with dark subjects anymore. It's not dealing with life and death. But it's dealing with right now, and it's dealing with the future and things like that. And those things are, positive to me.
Behind the scenes, the band was exhausted. That feeling crystallized when they dropped Conventional Weapons, a series of previously unreleased songs, and it was obvious they were cleaning out their closet.
We'd been touring so much, we over-toured, and it was hard for us to regain that love of doing it, which you really need to make a creative album. To make a great album, you have to really love it.
Shortly after, in March 2013, the band officially announced their breakup. And now, Gerard found himself alone with his thoughts, and they weren't all pretty. For years, he had been privately struggling with depression and alcohol use. The band had provided structure and purpose, and without it, those struggles intensified. What ultimately grounded him was his family. Gerard had married Lindsay Bellato in 2007, a member of the band Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Where did you meet her?
We opened for her band when we were a young starting band, and then we didn't see each other for years, and then we met up again on tour, and then we got married at the end of that tour. It was awesome. Great. It was awesome.
Their daughter, Bandit Way, was born in 2009.
It's a huge responsibility, but it's a huge amount of fun.
Right.
Like, first they're very fragile, and then all of a sudden they start to get stronger, and then now she's just like on autopilot. Now, granted, you have to watch her, but she can navigate the whole house. She has an opinion about things, even though she can't even really speak English yet, but she speaks her made-up language. She's dismissive sometimes. She's awesome. She wants crackers. She pulls the things open and she says,
"Oh yeah, she knows how to get into the cabinet. The closet. Yeah,
it's super rewarding."
The thought of his daughter growing up without a father was something he could not accept. That fear was enough motivation for him to get sober and rebuild his life.
Well, mental illness and mental health is really important to me because it's something that I've gone through my whole life. I believe in therapy. I believe if you find the right combination, I believe in medication. I'm both on medication and in talk therapy, and I really believe in it. I believe in treatment.
With that stability came new creativity. In September 2014, he released Hesitant Alien, his debut solo record.
Reinvention is something that's such a part of me that I don't think that'll ever stop.
Instead of gothic punk epics, Hesitant Alien served up fuzzy Britpop-inspired rock with splashes of glam and shoegaze.
I wanted to do something completely different from what I had ever done. I knew that I wanted to keep it sonically pure to what I had grown up listening to, like Jesus and Mary Chain, Supergrass and Blur, and especially early Blur. I wanted that, and so I really chased those things pretty hard.
For a guy who made his name screaming about death, this was a hard left turn. Guitars washed everything in distortion, sometimes swallowing Gerard's voice entirely. But this wasn't catharsis by explosion. It was mood, texture, and atmosphere.
Hesitant Alien is a glammed out, fuzzy guitar lover's dream come true. This is an excellent album that showcases a lot of the best things that Gerard did with My Chemical Romance while still incorporating numerous new sounds.
The album was a moderate success, debuting at number 16 on the Billboard 200 and earning mostly positive reviews. Tracks like No Shows and Action Cat proved he could still write anthems, just with a different paintbrush now. But even under the new coat of paint, Gerard was still dealing with feeling uncomfortable and out of place.
It's not simply This Is Me, because I don't think that exists. I don't think there is a This Is Me. I think there's always a character and there's always some kind of visual thing going on with it. I think I'll always be that way.
But music was only one half of his newfound renaissance. The other half was as colorful and bizarre as any concept album. He finally had time to fully indulge his comic book career. Back in 2007, at the peak of the Black Parade's success, he had launched a comic series called The Umbrella Academy. Co-created with Brazilian artist Gabriel Ba, this was a surreal, offbeat superhero tale that reflected Gerard's love for the eccentric. In 2008, the series' first volume won an Eisner Award, which is basically the Oscars of comics. He also penned The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, a comic mini-series expanding the wild world of the Danger Days album, effectively blending his music and comic lore into one universe. By 2016, DC Comics tapped him to curate a new imprint called Young Animal, which specialized in experimental and weird superhero titles. Gerard became the driving force and even writer for the flagship series, a revival of the cult classic Doom Patrol.
Gerard is deep comics, if you don't know this. But you worked in an actual comic book store.
I did. I worked in a comic shop when I was about 14, 15. And
this is, can you imagine this kid, the kid who worked at the comic book store is this guy now. He's writing Doom Patrol. Were you reading Grant Morrison?
He had effectively carved out a second career as a respected comics author. And then The Umbrella Academy was adapted into a Netflix series debuting in 2019. And suddenly, Gerard's creations were reaching a global mainstream audience that might never have heard a note of his music. By his early 40s, he had managed to achieve his childhood dreams. He'd conquered the rock world and made a name for himself in comics. But he wasn't done yet. Even as Gerard flourished in his solo endeavors, the specter of My Chemical Romance never fully faded. Vice magazine named them Artist of the Decade for the 2010s, despite the fact that they had been inactive for most of that time. Even in absence, their influence loomed large. Over the years, artists like 21 Pilots or Post Malone cited them as influences, proof that the band's DNA had seeped into the musical bloodstream of the next wave. Even Billie Eilish often talked about loving the Black Parade in her youth. Then came Halloween 2019, and without warning, My Chemical Romance announced a reunion show in Los Angeles that December. Tickets sold out within minutes. And what started as one show quickly turned into a full-fledged reunion tour. They announced more dates in Australia, Japan, Europe, and a massive North American tour. By 2022, they were playing to massive sold-out arenas. Gerard stepped on stage not as the bleach blonde patient of old, but often in wild new costumes. One night a skeletal harlequin, another night in a cheerleader uniform with smeared makeup, another in a dystopian mask. At 45, he was as theatrical and unpredictable as ever. And that's what made the shows work. They didn't feel like nostalgia. They felt earned, celebratory, victorious. Then they unexpectedly dropped The Foundations of Decay, a 6-minute bruiser that sounded hungry, wounded, and fully engaged. Even the critics caught up. Paste Magazine wrote that it's now accepted canon that My Chemical Romance are one of the most important rock bands of the millennium. Keep in mind, this is a group of Jersey kids who at one point stopped trying to be cool, but accidentally became irreplaceable. The Independent observed that Gerard set a blueprint for emo's image, the pale face, the raven black hair, and perhaps a red tie for almost 20 years. But beyond the look, it's the spirit of Gerard Way that resonates. He was never your typical machismo frontman. He showed that you could feel uncool and be wildly influential at the same time, and that you could talk about death and depression while ultimately encouraging people to keep living and keep fighting. In the end, the legacy of Gerard Way is measured not just in records sold or comic issues printed, but in lives touched. Kids who felt broken and outsiders who felt invisible, and any of us who discovered his work and realized they weren't alone. Whether through music or comics, his message stayed the same. Don't deny the darkness. Embrace your inner misfit. And let the life you build become a light for someone else.